On a narrow street where the rain seemed to linger longer than anywhere else in town, there was a small shop with a green door, a fogged window, and a brass bell that rang softly whenever someone stepped inside. The sign above the door was simple: Arthur Wren, umbrellas repaired. Most people passed it without noticing. They hurried by beneath their hoods, stepped around puddles, and crossed toward brighter windows where cakes were displayed behind glass, or books leaned invitingly behind warm lamps. But every now and then, someone stopped in front of Arthur's shop with an umbrella bent by wind, faded by age, or held closed by a latch that had forgotten how to give. Arthur repaired them all. He fixed cracked handles, tightened loose ribs, stitched torn canopies, polished brass tips, and coaxed stubborn latches back into place. He believed there was dignity in mending what others had nearly thrown away. His shop was narrow but warm, heated by a small black stove that ticked softly on rainy evenings. Umbrellas hung from brass hooks along the ceiling like dark flowers waiting to bloom. Wooden drawers held spools of thread, silver screws, tiny springs, waxed cloth, replacement handles, and small tools worn smooth by years of patient work. Behind the counter, through a wide open archway, was Arthur's workshop, a long table scarred by years of repair work, a wall of narrow drawers, a rack of drying umbrellas, and a lamp that cast a circle of amber light over whatever he was mending. The room was not hidden from customers. Anyone waiting in the shop could see him work if they looked past the counter. Arthur noticed everything. He noticed the way people held broken things. Some handed them over apologetically, as if the umbrella had failed because of them. Some were impatient, embarrassed to need anything repaired. Some placed their umbrellas on the counter gently, the way one might lay down an old letter. Arthur had been alone for many years, though not in a way that made people worry. His wife had died before the shop grew old, and his 2 children had long since made homes in brighter, noisier cities. They wrote when they could. They visited when life allowed. Arthur never complained. He had the shop, his routines, and the small comfort of repairing things that still had use left in them. For many years, he thought umbrellas were simple things. They opened, they closed, they kept people dry. Then, one rainy Thursday evening, after the street lamps had turned the puddles gold, Arthur opened a faded blue umbrella on his work table and heard wedding bells. He froze. The shop filled, very softly, with the scent of wet stone, spring roses, and rain falling on church steps. For one brief moment, Arthur saw a woman laughing beneath the blue umbrella, her white dress gathered in one hand, her cheeks bright with joy as rain fell all around her. Then the vision faded. Only the umbrella remained, open above the work table, patched in 2 places, still dripping from a storm long past. Arthur stood very still. He closed the umbrella, opened it again. This time, there were no bells, only a faint breath of rose-scented rain. After the blue umbrella, Arthur told himself it had been the rain, the hour, the stove heat, his own tired mind playing tricks with scent and sound. But 2 days later, a child's yellow umbrella let fall 3 perfect snowflakes that melted before they reached the floor. It had belonged to a boy whose father once walked him home through the first snowfall of winter, pretending the whole world had been made just for them. And a few days after that, a striped umbrella carried the salty mist of a seaside goodbye. Arthur opened it and heard gulls calling over the harbour, and felt the ache of someone waving until the ship was no longer visible. Arthur stopped trying to explain it away. Then came the green umbrella. It was small, with a carved wooden handle and a tear along one seam. When Arthur opened it, the shop filled with the scent of summer rain and leaves warmed by afternoon light. He heard 2 women laughing beneath a tree. Not young women, but sisters whose voices had grown older without growing less familiar. They had not spoken for 10 years. Arthur did not know how he knew this, only that he did. And beneath that green umbrella, while rain softened the garden around them, something between them had finally loosened. Arthur stood under the open canopy for a long moment, listening. Only then did he begin to understand. Umbrellas, he discovered, remembered weather. Not all weather. Not every ordinary drizzle. Not every grey morning spent hurrying to the market. They remembered only the weather from moments that had mattered. Arthur never told anyone. It did not feel like a secret exactly. More like a trust. People brought him umbrellas because something had broken. They did not know they were also bringing him small pieces of their lives. So he repaired the ribs and latches, stitched the torn fabric, polished the handles, and treated every umbrella as if it carried something precious, because, in some quiet way, it did. Then, one evening, just as the rain began to fall harder against the window, the brass bell above the door gave a soft ring. Arthur looked up. A woman stood in the doorway, closing a plain black umbrella. She was neatly dressed, with dark hair pinned loosely at the back of her head, a few rain-damp curls resting near her cheeks, and gloves buttoned neatly at the wrist. Her face was calm, in the way a room is calm after every door has been closed. She stepped inside and placed the umbrella on the counter. The latch sticks. I need it only to open and close. Arthur nodded. That is usually what umbrellas are asked to do. I was hoping it might be quick. Arthur lifted the umbrella and tested the handle. The latch resisted under his thumb. I can repair it while you wait, miss. Bell. Mara Bell. Arthur Wren. You're welcome to sit while I work. The rain has made itself comfortable tonight. Mara removed her gloves, but did not sit. Instead, she stood near the front window, looking out at the narrow street where water streamed along the curb and the street lamps wavered in every puddle. Arthur carried the black umbrella through the open archway to his work table. It was an ordinary thing, sturdy, practical, and plain. No carved handle, no pattern, no coloured lining, no initials, no charm tied to the strap. It was the sort of umbrella bought in a hurry and kept for years because it had not yet given anyone a reason to replace it. Arthur pressed the latch. The umbrella opened with a tired little snap, and nothing happened. No scent of roses, no wind from a harbour, no childhood snow, no bells, no laughter, no faraway footsteps, no trace of any day that had ever asked to be remembered. The silence inside the umbrella was so complete that Arthur looked up from his work table. Mara Bell was still watching the rain. Arthur lowered his eyes and examined the umbrella more closely. The ribs were sound. The canopy was unmarked. The spring was worn but not broken. The handle needed tightening, and the latch needed cleaning and a slight adjustment. Mechanically, the umbrella was ordinary, but in every other way, it was empty. Arthur had repaired umbrellas that carried grief. He had repaired umbrellas that carried joy so bright it seemed to warm the shop. He had repaired umbrellas that trembled with storms survived, roads chosen, and doors closed forever. Since the first vision, every umbrella had carried something. Until this one. He worked quietly for a while. The rain tapped against the glass. The stove gave a small sigh. Somewhere in the drawers beneath his bench, a loose screw rolled softly as he reached for a tool. At last, Arthur said, "Do you like the rain, Miss Bell?" Mara did not turn from the window. "I like being prepared for it." Arthur smiled faintly and adjusted the spring. "That is not quite the same thing." "No, I suppose it isn't." He cleaned the latch with a fine cloth and a drop of oil. "Have you ever been glad to be caught in it?" Mara's reflection in the window was quiet and still. "No, I try not to be caught by anything." Arthur did not answer right away. Some people said things lightly because they did not mean them. Others said true things lightly because that was the only way they could bear to let them out. He turned the umbrella in his hands and continued working. As he cleaned the latch and loosened the handle, something thin and faded slipped from beneath the metal collar. It drifted onto the work table like a loose leaf. Arthur picked it up carefully. It was the corner of an old train ticket. The ink had faded so much that only part of a date remained. There was no destination, only a torn edge, a smudge of blue, and the faint impression of a line that might once have been a platform number. Mara turned from the window. For the first time since entering the shop, her composure changed. Only slightly, but Arthur saw it. "Is that yours?" Mara looked at the small piece of paper on the counter. "I don't know." "Yes." Arthur placed it on the counter between them. The rain outside softened, as if the whole street had begun listening. Mara came closer. "I forgot that was there." Arthur said nothing. For a long moment, she only looked at the ticket corner. Then she drew in a slow breath, the kind people take when a memory has opened a door without asking. It was years ago. There was a station. Rain. Too much rain. The kind that turns everything silver. I was leaving. Arthur waited. He was there. On the platform. He had packed a lunch for the journey, even though he hoped I would not take it. It was wrapped in brown paper and tied with string. Everything tucked neatly inside, as if the care he took with it might say what he could not. He didn't ask me to stay. He only looked at me as if I could choose, as if I was allowed to want something. I opened the umbrella before I cried. Then I stepped onto the train. The shop was very quiet. Arthur looked at the black umbrella resting open on his table. It was not damaged. It was not neglected. If anything, it had been used exactly as intended. Perhaps that was what troubled him. It had done its work too well. It had kept out rain. It had kept out weather. And somehow, over the years, it had kept out memory too. Arthur left the ticket corner on the counter and finished repairing the handle and latch. His hands moved slowly, carefully, with the tenderness he gave to every broken thing. At last, he closed the umbrella and opened it again. This time, the latch moved smoothly. There, it opens now. Mara reached for it, but Arthur did not immediately let go. Some umbrellas keep off rain, some keep off more than that. Mara looked at him. There was no accusation in his voice, no instruction, no demand that she become someone different before leaving the shop. Only a simple truth, offered gently enough that she could choose whether to receive it. She took the umbrella. For a moment, she seemed about to say thank you and stepped back into the rain exactly as she had entered, composed, practical, untouched. But instead, she looked once more at the torn piece of train ticket. "May I keep it?" Arthur nodded. "It belongs to you." Mara picked it up and held it in her palm, as if it were heavier than paper. Then she paid for the repair, buttoned her gloves, and walked to the door. The brass bell rang softly as Arthur opened it for her. Outside, the rain had softened into a fine mist that glowed beneath the street lamps. Water slipped from the awnings, gathered along window ledges, and fell in slow, shining drops. Mara stepped onto the pavement. For a moment, she stood with the closed umbrella in her hand. Her thumb found the latch out of habit. Then she stopped. She looked up. Rain touched her hair, her cheeks. The backs of her gloves darkened drop by drop. She did not move away from it. Arthur watched from the doorway, one hand resting against the doorframe. Mara closed her eyes. The rain was not hard. It did not drench her or chill her. It simply arrived softly, as if it had been waiting many years to be felt. She stood there until her breathing changed. Not into crying exactly, into something quieter, something like arriving. Finally, she opened the black umbrella. For one breath, nothing happened. Then, beneath the dark canopy, the falling drops turned warm and luminous, as if the umbrella had carried a small piece of the shop's light into the rain. It was not the heavy rain of the station, not the storm she had run from, not a memory of departure or regret, or all the words left unsaid. It was a new weather, a gentle drizzle held beneath the black canopy, faint in the warm light from Arthur's shop. It smelled of wet earth, clean air, and the first green stirring after a long dry season. Mara looked up into the umbrella. Arthur saw her smile, not the polite smile she had entered with, careful and small. This one trembled a little. This one was real. She lowered the umbrella just enough to feel both things at once, the shelter above her and the rain beyond it. Then she turned down the narrow street and walked slowly through the evening. From that night on, Arthur Wren continued repairing umbrellas in the little shop with the green door. People still brought him cracked handles, bent ribs, torn fabric, and stubborn latches. And he still treated each one as if it carried a life inside it. Sometimes, when he opened an umbrella, the shop filled with wedding rain. Sometimes, childhood snow drifted over his work table. Sometimes, there was wind from a harbour, sunlight after a storm, or the hush of a garden after two sisters had forgiven each other. And sometimes, on quiet evenings, when the rain softened against the glass, Arthur would think of Mara Bell walking home beneath her plain black umbrella, carrying at last its first remembered weather. Some people remember their lives in photographs, some in letters, some in songs or recipes, or the scent of rooms they once loved, and some remember only when the weather returns. From then on, Mara Bell still carried her umbrella, but she did not always open it right away.